Hey little boy, you joining me today? Hi there, hello and welcome to Little Likac. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Amanda and I'm coming to you from Derby in the UK. It is Monday the 7th of November and it's in the evening, so the lighting is really quite bad in here. That's very bright, that light I've put on there. I'm just going to see if I can make... Is that a bit better? I don't know. So the lighting is going to be really dodgy because it is pitch black out there. I've got the office lights on, I've got this ring light, so the colours are going to be a bit dodgy. I keep looking down here because down here Stu is sat next to me on the sofa, so he may lend a hand, he might start shouting, who knows, we'll see how we go. So what have I got for you today? My name is Amanda. This is my podcast. It is all about knitting and crochet and yarny things like that. So you can find me on Ravelry. I'm Likac66 on Ravelry. You can find me on Instagram as Little Likac Yarn. You can find me on Etsy as Little Likac Yarn. And if you want to email me, my email address is littlelikac@gmail.com. So, firstly, a huge thank you to everybody who watched Vlogtober. I did actually really enjoy doing it, but I was also quite relieved when it was finished. It's kind of a little bit bizarre because to begin with, the first week or the first few days after it finished, when I came downstairs in the morning, I almost missed that filming, those first few minutes of the day, kind of saying, hi everybody, this is what I'm doing today. So that felt a bit strange because as I was going downstairs I was almost thinking about what I would have said in that little segment. But what I didn't miss, alright everybody? What I didn't miss was the rush to get it edited when I got home from work and trying to fit that in and cook dinner or eat dinner and things like that. I don't know why I said cook dinner, I very rarely cook dinner. So would I do it again? Absolutely. But I don't think I'm going to do Vlogmas. I think I would do Vlogtober again because I think there's less pressure with Vlogtober. I feel with Vlogmas people are going to expect to see lots of lovely Christmassy things, and yeah, so I would do it again, but maybe next year for October again. But if you were watching any of the Vlogtober videos and you sort of gave up watching them, if you were watching for the pumpkin and you gave up, there is still a week, or slightly less than a week now. We will be closing the draw for the pumpkin entries on Saturday. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when I did Vlogtober, on the very first one, on the 1st of October, I was crocheting a little pumpkin. And I finished that off, and then that pumpkin appeared in every episode of Vlogtober. And if you watched all the episodes, here comes Stu. Hello, little boy. If you watched all the episodes and kept a note of where you saw the pumpkin and just kept a note of it, if you send me, email me with your answers to that, then you are entered into a prize draw. And the winner of the prize draw is going to be receiving this, which was the October Mystery Club Yarn. So I'm going to be drawing for that on Sunday. I'm going to do a live YouTube broadcast on Sunday afternoon, 3 PM UK time. I don't know what time that is. Other things. It'll be 3 PM UK time on Sunday afternoon. That will be Sunday the 13th of November. So if as long as you get your entries in sort of by midnight on that Saturday night, on the Sunday morning I'll go through all my emails. I've had quite a few already, so thank you very much. But yes, if you didn't finish watching all of the Vlogtobers, you've got a few left, then feel free to watch those over the next few days and get your entry in. There is a section, I think it's between about the 17th and 21st of October when I was away in Prague. There's just one video for that, and there's one appearance of the pumpkin in that video. So you just need to put that one appearance for those days. So yes, so there is plenty of opportunity still for winning that yarn. Talking of giveaways, I'm going to be really honest and say I have got behind in sending out prizes. And I think that was partly when I was doing Vlogtober. I was getting orders out the door, I was getting the advents out the door, and things like that obviously take priority because they're paid orders, and also it's kind of all the the postage, the printing of the labels is kind of all done through Etsy, and I can just print things out and just press, you know, I don't have to calculate postage and things like that. It does a lot of that work for me, which I know is a bit lame really, but I am really conscious. There are 2 prizes still to send from a few months ago, or about 6 weeks ago, which I feel really bad about. Now, the lady who did win the one of a kind from the last podcast, she has now been in touch with me, so I have got her address. So I'm so sorry that I've got behind in sending out prizes. Please, 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 I'm not trying to scam anybody or spam anybody. Not that I ever ask anyone for any money or anything like that anyway, but I will get the prizes sent out. So I just got a bit behind with that kind of stuff. And one of the other reasons as well I've got behind is because I've been so focused on one of the knitting items as well. So what have I got to show you? So I've got some finished objects to show you. I've got a complete finished object and a half finished object to show you. I have got new cast on, and I've got quite a few acquisitions as well. The first finished object I've got to show you is something I've finished and I've gifted or given to my colleague, and that was the baby hat and jacket / cardigan that I was making. Now, I filmed some footage of that, which I'm hoping I haven't deleted, because I have gone through and deleted quite a lot of stuff because my memory was getting very full, but I'm hoping I've kept that. So I will insert, because I've given that now to my colleague that I've knitted it for, so I will insert that little bit of video now. So yes, so I gave that to my colleague last week and she absolutely loved it, and she has sent me a picture of her little grandson in it. He's probably a little bit too small for it, so it is a bit big for him at the moment, but that's great because he'll grow into it over the next few months, so it should last him nicely through November, December, January, February time. Yeah, it's just really cute on him, so I'm really, really pleased with how that turned out. So the second finished object I've got to show you, as I say, is actually a half finished object, and it's the Yarndale socks, or one of them. And I haven't even got a sock blocker down here at the moment, but here it is. I have finished the first of the Yarndale socks, and it's called the Yarndale socks because I bought the yarn at Yarndale this year. I cast on the sock on the way home from Yarndale on the train, and it's a colourway by West Yorkshire Spinners that is designed specifically for Yarndale. So most definitely Yarndale socks. So last time you saw them, I was there. So really I just had the toe left to do. I was a very good girl as soon as I had finished that, and I think I've even woven in the ends. Get me. As soon as I had finished it though, I cast on the second sock, because I feel that if you don't cast on the second sock straight away, that's when you get second sock syndrome. To be fair, literally all I've done is cast it on and maybe done one row. So I'm going to put the progress keeper in on there, and yes, this is just let me just put the progress keeper in. So this is just a plain, what we call a vanilla sock, which just means that there's no pattern to the actual patterning to the actual sock itself. It's just in stocking stitch because it's a self-striping yarn, and of course self-striping yarns then just do all the work for you. So that is the self-striping yarn. As I say, it is from West Yorkshire Spinners, their signature 4-ply, which is in the colourway Nigel. So I do love them. Nice autumny colours. So second sock is cast on. On we go. Crack on with the socks. So that's my second sort of finished object. Okay, so what else have I been working on? Another thing I've been working on is the Cable Magoria blanket, which is designed by Stuart Hillard, and he designed it for Stylecraft. Now, I was watching Karen from Stitches and Jacks. Hi Karen, if you're watching, she's so lovely. I was watching her Vlogtobers, and she was talking about quilting, and she said that she had a quilting book designed by a contestant. Oh, hello little fairy boy. Say hello, Stu. Say hello. It was designed by a contestant from the Great British Sewing Bee, and that contestant's name was Stuart Hillard. And I perked up my ears because I was only half listening, so I was knitting and whatever, and it was quilting, which isn't my thing, so I was, oh yeah, blah blah blah, half listening. And she mentioned Stuart Hillard, and I was like, hang on a minute, Stuart Hillard is the designer of the Cable Magoria blanket that I'm knitting, and it is the same one. So he is a knitwear designer, or a knitter, and apparently a big quilt designer as well. So I'd never even heard of this guy a few weeks ago, and I'm knitting a blanket by him. I then heard about his book, quilting and things like that. So I have finished, I haven't brought them down with me, I finished the first strips that were done in the sort of reddy colour. And so this is a big blanket. Oh, I've got things falling down over here. This is a big blanket that's knitted in strips, and it's a cable blanket, so all the strips have got different cable designs. So this is the second strip, or the second pattern. And we're knitting it in this colour, this orange. And it is a Stylecraft Aran, Stylecraft Highland Heathers Aran, and this colour is Whiskey. Okay, so originally the pack I ordered, I bought from a shop called Delta Wools, and I think they are just a small kind of local yarn store, and they were doing a really good offer on the yarn. So I bought my pack of wool from them, and they'd sent everything. So here is the cable strip we've been doing with this. This is where there was a knot in the ball, so I had to cut that knot out there. And then this is where I finished one ball and joined a new. And we had 2 balls of this orange, this Whiskey. And the Facebook group for the knit along, because it's being done as a knit along, the Facebook group, people started saying very quickly that they didn't think there was enough of the orange yarn. And somebody came on and said the pattern's been tested, you know, by quite a few people, the numbers are right. And then more and more people started to go on to the Facebook group saying, no way is there going to be enough orange to do the 2 strips. And then, so this was over the weekend, must have been last weekend? Can't remember, maybe the weekend before. This was over a weekend anyway. And there was nobody from actually official from Stylecraft commenting. And then on the Monday morning, Stylecraft put onto the Facebook group an apology and said there had been a miscalculation with the yarn that only affected those of us that were knitting it in this particular colourway and this brand of wool. And they said, they admitted you needed a 3rd ball of this yarn, and you also needed a 3rd ball of another one. So that was effectively having to buy 2 more balls of wool or yarn. Well, that didn't bother me too much. I mean, it wasn't great, but the cost of the wool was pretty cheap. It's only £2. I think I bought it for about £2.20 a ball, so it wasn't too expensive for me. But the problem is there are people all over the world who are knitting this blanket who've bought their wool from the UK and paid shipping, international shipping, for a pack of wool. And they may have had to pay £15, £20 shipping for all of this wool, that I've now got to decide whether to order and pay shipping again just for 2 balls. So it's people who are international that I really feel sorry for. So anyway, I got back in touch with the shop I had ordered it from originally, and I phoned them and spoke to a lovely lady. She was really lovely, and she said yes, they'd had a few people phone that day, not surprisingly, and yes, they still had wool in the dye, or yarn in the dye lot I had bought. So she said, I'll put 2 aside for you. And the shop did free postage if you spent over £30. Well, of course, 2 balls of Aran was not going to cost £30. So I said to her, I said, how much is your postage if I don't spend over £30? She said, £2.95. I thought, oh, okay, that's not too bad. And there were some people on the Facebook group who were saying we shouldn't have to pay postage, etc. But if you're buying it from a small stockist, a Stylecraft stockist, it's not their fault that this has happened. And I'd rather give them the business anyway. So then I thought, well, I'll have a look. This is going to lead into acquisitions, isn't it? But I'll have a look and see if there is anything else that I'd like. And if there is anything else, maybe, you know, I could spend a little bit more. You know what I'm going to say. So I had a look. So here are the two walls that I had to buy. The purple, oh what a shame, and the whiskey. And then, so they don't do West Yorkshire spinners at this shop, but they're a Stylecraft stockist, and Stylecraft have their own sock yarn, which they call Head Over Heels. So those are the two Aaron. So I'll put those in there. In my big blanket bag. But they do, so Stylecraft has a sock yarn called Head Over Heels. And I saw this one called Show Your Pride. And it's designed, again, by Stuart Hillard. And it's self-striping, relatively thin stripes on this design. 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide, and I think it was about £5.50. And I think I've mentioned before about my eldest daughter at university. She likes rainbows, and I've already bought another rainbow sock yarn for her. So I really need to get round to knitting some socks for her in this yarn. I mean, it is amazing, and I know she will absolutely love a pair of socks in these. She wears DMs, so I would really like to get a pair of these knitted for her before Christmas. In fact, we went and saw her yesterday at university, and before she put her DMs on, she was wearing a pair of socks I've knitted for her previously. And I've got to say, they were looking a bit tatty. She definitely needs some new knitted socks, so I need to knit her a few pairs, I think. So that's how it will stripe. So I will probably just do vanilla socks with this, and at least get one pair out of these for her. So I'd really like to do those before Christmas if I can. But isn't it gorgeous? So I bought that. That still didn't take it up to £30. So they also had a Christmas festive pack of sock yarn. Again, the Head Over Heels, which also came with a little pattern book. I'm not so worried about the pattern book particularly, if I'm honest with you, but the 4 balls was about £20, £21 I think maybe. And it comes in these 4 gorgeous colours. So I've not opened this yet, so forgive the rustling. Let me just see how easy this is to open. Not very. It's not like it's got... Oh, okay. It's come apart. So we've got this amazing sparkly sock yarn. That, you can really see the sparkle. How gorgeous is that? It's kind of similar to mine there, isn't it? So we've got this gorgeous sparkly. We've got this lovely red, which I'm now just wondering as well whether I could use that red as a contrast potentially with that. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, got this gorgeous red. And then 2 stripy ones, which are very similar, apart from, they're quite similar in tone and colour. That one is just plain stripes, and this one has more of the Fair Isle type effect. So this one is called, has it got a colourway? Cupid. This one is called Cupid. This one is called, oh, Vixen. Oh, brilliant. Then I've just realised they're named after Santa's reindeer. This one is named Comet. This one's named Comet. And this one's Rudolph. Oh, that's awesome. Love this. That's really made me happy, as you can tell. So, yes, I have these beautiful 4 sock yarns. So by the time I put that all together, it then came to about £31, so I got my free shipping. So it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. And oh, so I'm just having a quick look at the pattern booklet that it came with, and actually you can see it's got some quite cute little wrist warmers pattern there with that's nice actually, with snowflakes on, so that's quite cute. So it's got wrist warmers, Christmas hats, socks. I'm curious if the socks are knitted in the round, and the socks have got right from age 3 to 4 to large adult, and they are knitted in the round. Oh, that's cool. Okay, and so you got snowflake socks. So having said I wasn't bothered, I wasn't fussed about the pattern booklet, it's quite a nice little pattern booklet actually. So you've got the patterns on here for the hats, the wrist warmers and the socks, and then it shows you where to download the pattern for the oh, in fact actually the cardigan pattern is available free on the website, so presumably anybody can get that. So yeah, that's really cute. I might I would imagine you could probably get a pair of socks and a hat, or a pair of socks and a pair of wrist warmers out of one ball, I would guess. So yeah, just love these. So I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to do any Christmas socks as well, you know, actual Christmas socks for myself, as well as knitting those ones for Eloise and stuff, but I've definitely got more of my sock mojo back at the moment, so we will see. But yeah, really lovely, really pleased with those. So that kind of jumped to acquisitions, but I'm going to jump back now to show what I've been working on mostly. And this is the Fair Isle, the vintage Fair Isle vest pattern. So the story behind this is the knit group that I belong to in Derby. We were contacted by Derby Theatre 4 or 5 weeks ago asking if any of us would be interested in knitting a vintage Fair Isle slipover or tank top for a child/teenager. Right, for a child/teenager for their Christmas production. And this was before half term, and bear in mind I had 2 weeks off over half term. I thought I could do that and get the majority of it done in the 2 weeks while I'm off. I could do that, I could sign up to that. So I offered to do it. And if you watched Vlogtober, you'll see most of Vlogtober I was waiting for the pattern and the wool. I'm waiting for the pattern and wool, I'm waiting. And I didn't get the pattern and wool until about the 27th of October, somewhere around that. So then I had to knit my butt off to get cracking on it. And to be fair, in the space of about 4 or 5 days, I got most of the Fair Isle front done. They did then say, because they knew they'd left it really late and it's a really tight deadline to get this finished, they said just do the front in Fair Isle, don't worry about the back if you haven't got time to do the back, just do the back plain. So I had got this much done in the first 5 days, as in I did all up the front and pretty much most of up the side front. And certainly by the 31st of October, when Vlogtober had finished, that's where I was up to. It then took me pretty much almost another week to get that bit done, because I was at school by then. And when I'm back at school, obviously I haven't got as much time to knit anyway, and then I'm really tired in the evening and my brain is tired. And Fair Isle takes a bit of thinking about, especially when you're doing shaping, because it means every row you've got to recalculate where you're starting. And it's not in the round, so you're also having to purl in Fair Isle as well, and that is slower. However, I have finished the front. As it turned out as well, this is not a child size, it's an adult size. So that also meant it was taking longer to do than I had anticipated. There are loads and loads of ends that are going to need sewing in. Because it's not knitted in the round, you are having to cut and restart the yarn quite often, because sometimes you'd finish with the colour at the end of the purl row and then you wouldn't use it on the knit row, and then you need it again on the next part. So there were times, well, there's a lot of times, so there's a lot of ends to sew in still. But those are my floats. Not bad, I think you'll agree. So I am doing the back plain, but there's also another little story to tell you about this. it said you needed 2.75mm needles for the ribbing and 3.75mm needles for the ferrule. And again, if you watched the Vlogtober, I mentioned that I'd done the ribbing, and when I first started the ferrule, I was worried that the tension was out, but then actually once I got into it, the tension came out spot on. I didn't have any 2.75mm needles, so I did the ribbing on 3mm. I thought that'd be okay. And then I changed to 3.75mm needles and was working on the ferrule. So I started the back. In fact, I started the back before I'd finished this, because I thought, right, well, I'll get cracking on the back when I'm tired and can't concentrate on the ferrule. So I started on the back, did the ribbing with the 3mm needles, changed to the 3.75, and it was massive. Well, in fact, as soon as I changed to the 3.75mm needles, the needles felt really big, and I felt them, and I'm bearing in mind that I had got 3.75mm needles here. I've got 2 pairs, or I thought I had. I thought I had 2 pairs of 3.75mm needles. So one pair, this was on one pair, and this was on the other. But I could feel the difference. So I went back to this, and I checked the needle gauge of the needles I was working on. They were 3mm needles. So I'd swapped from 3mm needles in one brand to 3mm needles in another brand. And I was like, well, why the heck has it come out the right size? Well, it's because when I'm knitting ferrule, I knit really quite loosely to make sure it doesn't go all tight and pucker. So I was hitting gauge bang on with 3mm needles on the ferrule. And when I went up to 3.75 on here, obviously it was the tension, the gauge was way over. So I thought, well, if I go to 3mm needles, that's going to be too small because I'm obviously looser on this. So I went to 3.25, and that seems to be spot on. So yeah, I knitted all of that on 3mm needles. But it has come out exactly the measurements it says. So obviously, thank goodness I didn't start it on 3.75. What a lucky mistake. Anyway, so yeah, that was all knitted on 3mm needles. Where am I up to? I am nearly, on the back, I am nearly at the point of casting off for the armholes, which will be quite a relief, because once I cast off on both sides for the armholes, obviously the stitch count goes down, and the stitch count goes down by about 25%, maybe 30% even. So that will make the knitting the rows quicker, because I'm really on a deadline now. This needs to be finished, and with the theatre a week today. And where are we? So yeah, obviously not only have I got the back to finish, I need to sew it together, and then I've got to do the ribbing around the arms and ribbing around the neck. So really, ultimately, my plan is I've got to have the back finished by Friday, ideally Thursday night if I can, so that Friday I can start the sewing up. It will need blocking, and as I say, there'll be the rib to do and all the ends to sew in. And we're out on Saturday during the day. So I have got to, it is 7 o'clock now. I've been working out, it takes me roughly an hour to do an inch. So if I can do 3 hours on it tonight, maybe 2.5, 3 hours. I've done this amount today on it already. I think I did 2 rows at 6:30 this morning, and I did about another 2 rows while dinner was cooking. So if I can do another 2.5 hours on this tonight. Tomorrow night I'm out. I'm going to take it with me because I'm going to go straight from work and I'm going to eat dinner out. I'm going to the theatre by myself, which I'm really looking forward to actually. So I plan to take it with me. So I'll go somewhere for dinner and I will knit while I'm waiting for my dinner. And then I will knit in the theatre while I'm waiting for the show to start. It's possible that I'll knit while the show's on. Probably not though, because I think the pearl rows are too tricky to see in the, because it's quite a dark colour and it's on 3.25mm needles. I think I might struggle. I mean, I have knitted socks in the cinema before now. That's all knit, no purling. So probably won't be able to knit actually while the theatre performances going on. Plus, it feels more rude to do that in an actual live theatre. So, but I'll certainly knit while I'm waiting for the lights to go down, and I'll certainly knit on it in the interval. Yeah, and I might get the tram as well, so we'll see. So I will knit, hopefully I can get an hour's knitting worth on it tomorrow evening, and then there's Wednesday night, Thursday night. So yeah, I'm going to knit on it while I'm editing the podcast, and nothing else will get knitted this week. I sort of knitted on the cable blanket in between the fair hour when my brain, because honestly last week some evenings I'd come in and I could only do sort of an inch or so on it because it took so much concentration. It does look really effective. So I am on a real tight deadline. Check out Instagram to see how I'm getting on. Hopefully actually when I do the live on Sunday to draw the winner for the pumpkin competition, I might have it finished to show you, or I'll be crying going, this is going to be really quick because I want to get this finished. So yeah, but I mean gosh, what I can't get over is I was using such small needles, and one, that I hadn't realised, and two, that it gauge was right. What I'm finding with this is that the gauge is right width wise, but the gauge is smaller on the height. So I counted how many rows I had done, and I've done the same number of rows, and I still wasn't quite up to the same point for actually measurement wise to cast off for the underarms. So yeah, I'm just going to have to keep measuring it and see how we go. So that's being knitted. Don't think I've got any of the, oh yes I have. This is being knitted in the Merino blend by King Cole Merino blend 4-ply, which is quite a nice yarn to use. I'm going to have loads left over, so when I have finished it, and I'll contact the costume director to let me know I've finished it, I've probably got, I think he gave me maybe twice as much wool as I needed, so I'll let him know that I've got all the spare wool as well and see what he wants doing with that. Right, okay, so yeah, that's my commission knitting. I am a bit worried about getting it finished. I'll be honest and say my arm has been aching, because that's the other thing when you're knitting quite fast, or relatively fast, on smaller needles. I'm going to see if I can knit a row while I'm talking to you. I was finding actually it was making my arm ache a bit. So yeah, I'm really thinking I've got to do 3 inches on this at least tonight. 3 inches Wednesday night, 3 inches Thursday night. That's another 9 inches. That probably will actually get the back finished, I hope. 9 inches, yeah. I'll double check, I'll have to measure this when I go back up to the house. Right, so now I'm working on a row while I'm talking to you. So, I was going to say that's about it, but I have got another acquisition to show you as well. Ooh. Just looking, there's something missing. I wonder where I've put that. So I was looking on Instagram, and the lovely Jeanette, last year, this time last year, I was knitting a pair of socks. I think I did 2 pairs of socks for her actually, for Socks for WMAS, which was the West Midlands Ambulance Service. And the lady who was coordinating that was called Jeanette. And I was following her on Instagram, and she put up a D-stash page. Well, that's always dangerous. And I bought from her D-stash, a lovely, let's see if it's in here. Yeah, a lovely skein of sock yarn called Lavender Tea. So you can see why I bought it, and it's a high twist, superwash merino, cashmere and nylon, and it's from Fondant Fibre, and it says hand dyed in the High Peaks, England. Now I'm not sure if the High Peaks is different from the Peak District or if it's in a similar place. I'm not sure. I've got it in my head that High Peaks is near here as well, and obviously These are very much my colours. It's a very pretty yarn. So I bought that from Jeanette. And she was also selling, and it just said Aran wool, a whole full kilogram, 10 skeins. 10 skeins? I think so. Yeah, 10 skeins, 100 grams each of this purple Aran. Isn't it an amazing colour? Now, I'm going to be honest and say it's obviously not merino, and I don't know if it's superwash. It is a little bit rough or rustic. But the more I feel it, actually, it just, I mean, if you compare it to that, that is really soft. So that immediately feels quite rustic. But it's not really rough. And I think what I need to do is do a little bit of a gauge swatch and wash it and see how it washes and how it feels after it's been washed. So I've got a massive bag of it. And I really don't know what I'm going to do with it because I don't know what the meterage is. I don't know how soft it's going to come out as. This is one of these examples of probably why you shouldn't just buy mystery random D-stash yarn. This is why I've got a whole garage full of stuff like that. But it was a bargain and I can't resist a bargain. And I'm sure I'll think of something to do with it. Yeah, so that's in my acquisitions. And then also, I did an advent swap with with a friend. Now, I do feel bad about this because I know that I said back in the Christmas in July that I was going to try and organise advent swaps among people, and it just was in that time period where things just didn't get done by me. But I did have a lady contact me who wanted to, well, somebody that I'd been in touch with that I did a swap with last year. And she said she wanted to, so it's Nancy, so hi Nancy. She said that she wanted to do a swap, or would I like to do a swap? And I said, oh yes please. And she did a full advent calendar for me on a Winnie the Pooh theme, so I'm dead excited to open it. I haven't opened it, I've been very good, it has arrived. But she also sent me, as part of the goodies, she also sent me some self-striping Halloween October yarn as well. So I'm going to save these for next year. So Nancy is Laying Cable on Instagram, Laying Cable Yarns, and it's hand-dyed self-striping sock yarn, 80% merino, 20% nylon, jack-o'-lantern, 250 gram skeins. So I'm actually going to hold on to this, and this is going to be my October, if I remember, my October knitting next year, or my autumn knitting next year. Maybe I'll knit them in September, ready to wear from the start of October actually. Aren't they? Isn't that gorgeous yarn? And that's just going to stripe beautifully. And then, as I say, I have a whole bag of little envelopes like this to open up for Advent. So those, if you watched the end of the Vlogtober, I said I've got a wooden box Advent calendar that I was going to decorate. So what I think I'm going to do is decorate that Advent box. Then I'm going to ask my daughter to open these up for me, because I don't think they're going to fit in the boxes. I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze them in. I might be able to squeeze them in, but if I can't squeeze them in, I'm going to ask my daughter to open up the bags and just put them into the yarn straight into the boxes so I can't see them. So yeah, that's my plan. And talking of Advent, there's a few people commented on ideas about things to knit with Advent yarns, and I think I'd like to try and put together like a list of 10 different patterns for Advent, maybe 5 free ones, 5 paid for ones. So I'd like to do that as a feature in the next podcast. So thank you for those of you that have already given me some ideas or messaged or mentioned a few, but I'd like some more. I'd love some ideas, perhaps a good range of ideas of things that you can wear, shawls, wraps, cowls, but jumpers maybe, or sweaters. So give me your ideas and we'll do at least a top 10, but we might do 5 free, 5 paid for, or even top 10 paid for, top 5 free, whatever. So over the next couple of weeks, please send me your ideas, and I'm going to put together for the next podcast, which will be in the 3rd week of November, so about a week before the Advents, we start opening Advents. And yeah, so if you're interested in that, if you think that's a good idea, give me a thumbs up and, you know, leave a comment, say you think that would be a good idea. Even better if you can suggest a pattern that we might be able to use. And I'll put together a video showing all of those patterns and linking. Obviously Ravelry is a great place where people can find patterns, but we know that there are some issues. Some people don't like or find it difficult to use Ravelry, so please let me know, or that would be great if you could also, you know, if it's available on Ravelry, that's great, but if you know of patterns that are available elsewhere as well, if you could just let me know where they're available. So I think that would be a really good feature to do on the next podcast, especially as I might not have anything much to show you, because the vest top, I will record a bit about the vest top before it gets taken to the theatre anyway, but I won't have it live with me. If I have got it still live with me in 2 weeks' time, we're in trouble. I haven't met the deadline. So yes, I think that would be a nice feature to do. And who knows, maybe I'll have decorated the advent box by then. Maybe. So, thank you once again. I think I've come to the end of everything I've got to show you. There's always something, or nearly always something, that I've missed. Yarn shop updates. Oh my goodness, I dyed a whole load of stuff on Saturday. So I did the November Mystery Club, so that's going to be being shipped out this week. I'm really pleased with that. Oh yeah, talking of Mystery Club, so there's one left to do on Fairy Tales, which will be for December, and that will have a very sort of December-y theme. So there's one more Mystery Sock Club. If you are interested in purchasing that, you need to buy it on Etsy before the 28th of November, and it goes out, it always goes out by then the 10th of the month. It will be posted out by the 10th of December. So, and I asked again during Vlogtober, I started to think about ideas for next year's Mystery Sock Club. Did I want to do it again? If I did, what kind of theme? And I definitely want to go with English literature themes or literary themes. And I mentioned the idea of Gothic, and loads of people said they would really like the idea of a Gothic book Mystery Club theme. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Gothic. But, because I was worried about 12 different Gothic books that people will have heard of, and then I thought, well, I don't have to do each one on a different book. There's plenty of interesting characters from certain key Gothic books, so that's what, or settings. So I'm going to do a Gothic Mystery Sock Club next year. When I say Gothic, that does not mean everything is going to be black and bats. I'm a bit more creative than that, and actually black's very hard to dye. So it'll be more creative than that. And we will have a number of classic Gothic Victorian, and it will be Victorian Gothic. We'll go with a number of classic Gothic texts, or 19th century Gothic texts. And then, but what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to use that for inspiration for settings, for characters. So you might, over the year, have 2 or 3 characters from the same book, but not in a row. So you might have 3 characters from, let's say Dracula. It's the most obvious Gothic Victorian text to say, isn't it? So you might get 3 different characters from Dracula over the course of the year. Or you might have, you know, something that's inspired by Whitby Abbey, which, if you don't know, is one of the settings used in Dracula. So that's what I'm going to do. It will not all be dark, probably will be moody, but they won't all necessarily be dark and moody. Some of the characters in, again, if we go back to Dracula, Mina is a sweet, innocent girl or female character. So, you know, don't think you're going to be signing up to get 12 black skeins of yarn with bat progress keepers. I am more creative than that. So that will be happening next year. So thank you for the support with that. So many people left a comment or even messaged me on Instagram, or when they sent their pumpkin entry, they put a little note saying, I really like the idea of the Gothic. There's a few other ideas as well, which I've made a note of, because you never know. If we keep going with the yarn business, and there'll be another club to do the year after next. What I am going to do, a couple of changes I'm going to make. At the moment with the sock club, there is the choice of having a mini only, 100 gram skein, or 100 grams with a mini. I'm going to drop the option of a mini only. I've only ever sold one. There's only ever been one person who's requested just one mini. So there will be the option still though for 100 grams or 100 gram and mini. So if you don't want the mini, you'll still have the option for that. I'm also going to stop trying, partly because of cost. I don't want to put the price of the club up. I'm going to keep the price the same, but there will no longer, after December next year, there will no longer be kind of extra goodies in there. You'll still get a stitch marker or progress keeper, but this year there's also been another extra goodie. So because of the cost of that, as I say, I don't want to put the price of the club up. So instead of putting the price of the club up, I'm going to take that item out. Etsy put their prices up this year. As I'm sure we all know, the prices of everything's gone up this year. So I don't want to put the price of the club up. So you will definitely get your 100 grams, the mini as well if you order the mini, and a stitch marker or progress keeper that will be on the theme. But that will be it. There won't be the extra goodies that have been going in this year, I'm afraid. But hopefully, you know, you're going to get what you want, which is the yarn and the progress keeper or stitch marker. So yeah, that's my plan for next year's club. So I'm going to start working on that. I've got the artwork to think about, because obviously the fairy tale club will finish in December. So I will be advertising and putting out the Gothic Club. Just need a fancy name for it. Don't think I want to just call it the Gothic Club. So yes, I really do appreciate though all the feedback on that and comments that people left, because that's helped me make a decision on that. And when I realised how popular it is, so yeah, I mean, Jane Eyre, Frankenstein, Dracula, Jekyll and Hyde, Tenant of Wildfell Hall. There's all sorts of places we could go with that. So that would be brilliant. Right, I am done now. I've finished talking and I'm on my second row. I've done the knit row and I've been doing this purl row while I've been chatting away here. So that's been quite good. I should do this more often, knit while I'm talking to you, showing you my stuff. Okay, I am done. Thank you for watching. Just brilliant to have you. If you like the podcast, please like give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, share the word, and thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.